Welcome back to Seawolf's Den. I'm Crafting Ron. I've got a pile of junk here and I want to make multiple piles of junk. Alright, so what I mean by that is I got toys. Here's another one of my last Skylander Giants Happy Meal toy heads, and I just don't know what to do with that. Transformers toys that I inherited somehow. Some old Battletech Click that I've already cannibalized. An old Star Wars figure or toy, game piece. Got more of these. You know, like, what are you gonna do with that? And I got these dollar store robots, which I'm not real happy with, and they come apart super easy. I am thinking maybe I can make, with some help from my bandsaw, piles of junk, scatter terrain. And I'll try to disguise these so it doesn't all look like robots or whatever, but it really doesn't matter. Because I was looking at this 3D print I did some time ago, and it's just a pile of junk. Different greebles just sitting there and covered in a layer of sand or bits, dirt, whatever. And I can do that. So I'm going to take some kind of base. I may use a wood base, or I may use cardboard. I'm not sure. I'm not real. This may be too heavy for cardboard. This stuff. But once I start cutting them up, I'll cut the arms, legs, feet, guns, and just pile them in different ways. So next time you see these, they'll be cut up and off their bases. I mean, and I want to try to disguise it in such a way that you don't know what these are. I mean, I don't want them screaming Battletech pieces or Transformers toys. I just want them to be bits of trash. And see, this guy's techno enough that I could cut him up and he'd be pieces. Optimus, I have a couple of, I don't know, this may be the bigger Optimus dude. I already got rid of the body. This is part of him. I think I will just start cutting up these parts and see where we go. All right, well, I cut up a lot of pieces. The rest I use clippers to get off, like this guy just can just. And I cut with bandsaw some pieces of the backing of a cabinet that we're going to throw away, and I took apart. I always save the wood left over from old cabinets, and it comes in useful for all kinds of things. So I got 4 pieces of this stuff, so I'm going to create 4 junk piles. I'm going to prime these first. I kind of want to go this direction. Just put a number of large pieces together like that, and make sure they're disparate, like totally different, so that you don't see similar things together, and then at least hide some of the nature of these pieces. I cut off all the hands first of all. And what I'll do is just have this junk pile and pieces, and maybe throw in a few other things. And it looks like they just, well, I mean, they modeled this with just a layer of dirt inside. So get these glued down, poured sand with the glue, and maybe it'll come together. That's my goal, just to kind of bring these together and then paint them up. So until next time. Alright, I got to thinking, and a number of things that led me to this, but I'm not entirely pleased with this result, but it's only because it's not enough. This is my first test, and I wanted to do it off camera. I wanted to kind of emulate, like I said, this 3D print. It's got parts, but it's also got kind of sand or debris kind of mixed in with it. And so it kind of looks like a pile of junk. And this is still drying, and there's a lot of glue. But what I used, and I'll do it again on screen, so I'm overall pleased with the result. I just think I need more. I have this modeler paste. This modeler paste is getting old. It's less of a paste and more of a gummy, kind of a gummy gooey. I can get more, not a big deal. But I thought I could use that as the kind of the basis of the mound of debris. So you kind of spread it about. So that's my mound of whatever. Let me get my debris out. Probably going to add more to it with hot glue. Some of that won't stick to the model space. And I just jam them in there. Kind of like the way those jammed into the 3D print. While it's still wet, what I do is I dump sand over top of it and press it down. Make sure that sand gets in there. Now, I know this looks like a hot mess right now. That's my thought on how to do this. Maybe not the best. Okay, that's only the first couple steps. I used Elmer's glue to fill in the rest of this, so we'll get that taken care of as soon as these dry. And I got one more, enough for one more. All right, so I worked on the small one, the test one, and like again, I kind of wish it was a little bit more out here. I was trying to think of something else I can put out there. I based it in a combination of browns and burnt umber. That's what I'm doing with these. You get the ground nice and covered up. Make sure that I got all of it. Get a little bit on the junk. That's okay. And I end up going back over it. I go over it with grays, and then sometimes that gray bleeds into the ground, so you go back over and touch it up. At the same time, I take some burnt sienna and I start dabbing the dirt that got up onto the parts and made it look more like rust. And then I dry brushed it with gray, and I had to go back and do a little bit more burnt sienna. And then I dry brushed outside the dirt, more of a dirt terrestrial beige. Give it a complete look. Before I did any of the dry brushing I also did a wash on it too. I painted things up. I just added color here and there, and you can't see it anymore much, but there is some color here: blue, reds, oranges, and yellows, just to show variance in the colors. So it's not just gray. I'm kind of happy how that turned out. We're going to paint the 3D printed ones the same way and see if it comes out like, I mean, I know this is smaller. I'm going to try to, a lot more junk in this one, it's a lot more bits.
I've got some other grays that I might be able to use to vary it, maybe some pavement. I guess I could have. What I might do with this last one is do a very light brushed silver on parts. Give it, like, it's supposed to look old, but there's places that metal could be showing. So I might do a light. Let's do that. That's really, I didn't want to do a lot. There you go. Show the final product once I get everything painted. But each one of these piles, except for the 3D printed one, has a hidden skeleton somewhere. There's a skull hidden right there. A skeleton body hidden there. There's another skull body there. That'll pop out once I paint it a different color. Okay, until next time.
All right, piles of junk are moving along, and as you can see, I found more stuff to add to the one that seemed awfully lopsided. I'm going to put this one on there and carefully paint it, and then both of those pieces, this leg of whatever it was, and this canister from some movie that looks already damaged, perfect for junk, that's going to get painted as well. Other things have been based with gray. The skeletons, as you can see, all of these need to be dirtied up with ink. I made a fifth one. As I was cleaning up in my garage, right near my bandsaw, were all the stuff that I cut off for previous projects. They added up to a lot of junk, so I decided to add that to a pile. So this needs to be based with gray. As you can see here, this is the remainder of the hood of the model car I used for the cockpit land speeder conversion. I got the hands from the Skylander Giants, hand blades from the Skylander Giants that I cut up to create the War Eagle. Here's the rear end of the car. This here is right there. That's a part of the X-Wing that I cut off. X-Wing engine to make it symmetrical for the land speeder conversion. A lot of the rest of these are just leftover greebles from that pile of greebles I printed off. They're just too small to use anywhere else. Part of the shoulder that I cut off from the arms of the War Eagle, that's a little more organic. I may make that some kind of growth or creature in the trash, who knows. So make sure you get everything that needs gray covered in gray. Now you get a little bit on the ground, and that's fine. I see a spot where I got to go back over it with wet brown anyway. I just want to make sure we got everything painted that we wanted. There's some touch up that I got to do. Ground. What we'll do next is detail it out with some color, with some variation before I start adding rust. Not perfect. There's mistakes here and there. So really all I do next is just take some brighter colors, some yellows, some reds, and blues, and detail it in places that might have these colors. tried applying the wash to some of these junk piles. I did some touch-up paint. Kind of laying a heavy coat of watered down black. It works for me for something like this. I might use store-bought wash. Be more detailed on miniatures or something like that, but in this case, just slathering it on is just enough. And this is where I lose some of the color. It's why I try to do as much as I can in color between this and the dry brush. I tend to lose some of the color. I already did the wash on the expansion of the original. Bothered me enough that this whole section was empty that I added two things, and then I added toxic waste goo with hot glue, and I painted it green. So I'm gonna dry brush that with a lighter green to make it look gooey. Detail painted that one. That's the last one I gotta do. So it's not too bad. Make sure you get the dirt too, because I'm gonna highlight that with dry brush. What I try to do is terrain beige on the outside, make it look like dirt. On the inside, I try to do like a rust color, like bird sienna or something along those lines to make it more chunky. Till next time. Okay, trash piles are done and painted. Pretty pleased with them. Total of 6 of them. This was the debris left on my bandsaw, all the stuff I cut off other projects, and then some other greebles that I printed out. Made these kind of look like organic things living there. I'm really pleased with that. I mean, otherwise that one got thrown out. So you got your rust. You've got some color thrown in there. It does kind of vanish with the wash and then the dry brush, but it's enough there. That's why I kind of did a lot. I wasn't sure how much was going to get lost, so now it's a good balance, I think. And then I like the contrast of some of the toxic waste and the skeletons too. Overall, pleased with that. Scatter terrain for sci-fi or post-apocalyptic. This one, I know, looks like it matches and fits in with this group, although it's a little more defined and smaller overall, but I'm okay with that. And there you go on that one project. Until next time, seek the wolf in thyself.